Hello, my name is Quadarius Tate, and I will be covering the basics of initiatives and referendums in the Arizona Constitution. During this video, I will provide basic definitions of an initiative and a referendum, explain how initiatives and referendums are created, compared, and contrast, and initiative and a referendum, as well as we discuss the pros and cons of each one of them. Then I will explain how initiatives and referendums support the idea of direct democracy as outlined in the Arizona Constitution. Well, what is an initiative and what is a referendum? An initiative is when the Arizona Constitution gives the citizens the right to propose a new law or allow citizens to make changes to the existing constitution independently and without the inclusion of the legislator through this process. And a referendum is the proposed law by the legislator that once passed is put out for the citizens to approve or deny through their official vote. This is the most common way to change the Arizona Constitution. So, how are initiatives and referendums created? Sorry about that. For initiatives, the Secretary of State creates petitions. It is prepared by a joint legislative budget committee staff for a fiscal review. The proponents may submit a proposed bill to the director of the Legislative Council for review, which counts as the general review of the petition. After a chance for comment by all legislators, the Legislative Council prepares an impartial analysis with description, background information, and effects. For the public review or notice, a public pamphlet includes the analysis prepared by the Legislative Council, arguments for and against, and the fiscal statement. Public meetings and the posting of amendments are also held. The Arizona Constitution requires valid signatures from 10% of votes cast for all candidates for governor in previous elections for statutes and 15% for amendments. For referendums, the application is filed on a form provided by the Secretary of State and must contain the sponsor's name. Sorry about that one again. Or if an organization, the names and titles to its officers, address, intent to circulate and file a petition, a description of not more than 200 words of the principal provisions of the measure and the full text. The Secretary assigns an official serial number to the petition and assigns numbers to petition in numerical sequences. The Arizona Constitution required the number of signatures to be 5% of the number of votes cast for all candidates for governor in the last general election. The legislator shall not have the power to repeal a referendum the legislature shall not have the power to repeal a referendum measure passed by a majority of the voters. Amending and diverting funds from a referendum measure requires a 3/4 vote of the members of each house of the legislature, and the amendment must further its purposes. Now we can compare and contrast the initiative and the referendum. Arizona's initiatives device was intended to provide the public with a mechanism to get around legislators that refused to act desired by a majority of the voters. Meanwhile, the referendum was valued to challenge what the legislator had done and to recall to remove those from office who were not responding to their constituents' wishes. The initiative process itself is politically neutral. Presently, the initiative process requires organizers to first get clearance from the Arizona Secretary of State to circulate a petition. Then they process to gather from. Then they proceed to gather from registered voters a required number of signatures. If If signature requirements are met, the measure is placed on the next general election ballot and is voted up or down by a simple majority vote. Here are some pros and some cons of initiative. The advantages of an initiative that it gives power of decisions directly to the people. It makes the legislator more responsive based on the citizens' ability to address issues directly, and it also allows the citizens to hold legislators accountable. The disadvantages of initiative are that it can lead to poorly drafted laws because there are no official requirements for the drafts, and any registered voters can create one. There is no expertise involved in the process. This creates a lot of voters to decide on, lending to less informed decisions from voters, and it is a more accessible process for well-resourced organizations. Here are the pros and cons of a referendum. The pros of a referendum is that they create proposals drafted by the constitutionally sound experts. It creates policies and procedures that reflect the majority's will. It also creates specific points of negotiation aligning the priorities of politicians with the people. The disadvantages are that it creates division in communities. It does not allow people to be in full control of what issues are proposed. It creates a further political divide amid politicians, causing drafts to be stagnant and not pass through the legislator to reach the people's vote. So how do initiatives and referendums support the idea of direct democracy as outlined in the Arizona Constitution? Direct democracy is defined as a form of democracy where policies and laws are decided by the citizens rather than entirely by an elected legislator. Initiatives gives voters direct power to adopt or change the laws or disapprove the laws passed by the legislator. It removes the role of an elected official acting as the middleman to give full access to running of the government to the people. Where referendums, the people have the final say rather than the proposal is passed or not, showing the outcome of direct democracy. However, the beginning process of the referendum requires legislators to pass the proposal by a majority before it reaches the ballot, showing an example of the representative democracy. And for that concludes the presentation of initiatives and referendums in Arizona. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a blessed day.